I beat Cube World with a fresh character in just 4 hours. Okay, well, I didn't beat the game, there is no ending, but I did get the zone's artifact relatively quickly. And from a poll I ran a couple of days ago, you wanted to know just how to level up efficiently in each zone. So here is a short mini tutorial / guide on how I did it. Now the goal of this video is to help players efficiently grind and gear up to be able to take on the legendary tier difficulty areas, which are the yellow named ones, and acquire artifacts. Now every zone is different. You may have one artifact, there can be up to 3 or 4 artifacts. For all intents and purposes, this is all about acquiring your first artifact. Some of these points can obviously be applied to future. Now I started with a fresh character, so I had no real gear. I picked whatever I preferred as a weapon, and the class specialization, which I visited the guild master in the nearby village, talked to him, was able to change it. If you want to change it, change it. If not, keep it. Now in the starting village, before you go, take 5 minutes and talk to all the NPCs in sight. They will actually provide you with key item locations and points of interest, which is a great way to get a rough layout of your map. The key items are things like the hang glider, climbing spikes, boat. Those are the main ones you want to prioritize. Now on that note, as you are exploring, continue talking to all the other NPCs you may see wandering about in your zone, because they can also provide you with the same information like key item locations and points of interest. Like I mentioned, prioritize collecting the hang glider, the boat, and the climbing spikes first. They're going to actually help you traverse the terrain a lot easier and speed up your ability to get to and from different quests. Also, most of the time, there's no enemies to defeat. You just kind of go there and find them on the ground and pick them up and use them. So there you go. Now the exception to this rule being the crafting books. Crafting books require you to save an NPC, and those can be completed as you improve your gear score. There may be some you can do from the get-go, but I would ultimately recommend leveling up or gearing up a little bit and then tackling those. Now before you leave, open up your map, and you want to mark your shrines of life around the quest areas or quest markers. Use a middle mouse button to mark a little star. The shrines of life from the map look like white squares or white cubes, and if you zoom in the highest zoom, you actually will see 4 little pillars. Mark that. These are your respawn points. These are going to be super important to make sure that if you do die, a case of an unfortunate death, you respawn right there closer to your zone or closer to the quest, so you don't have to walk another 5 minutes to get back there. As you're going along, you want to do 2 things. Collect all your healing and elixir items. These are things like heart flowers, mushrooms, and dragon root. These are your potions, these are your elixirs. These are what's going to help you keep you alive, basically. And as you're going, also kill all the white and green quality mobs whenever possible to acquire some gold. Great, but more importantly, to try to get some gear upgrades. Not all mobs drop gear, and it's kind of random when it does drop, but these will help you get a little bit stronger so you can take on harder enemies. There's 5 quality or tiers of enemies and loot: white, green, blue, purple, and you have yellow. You can experiment with some low health or low HP blue quality mobs early on, like spitters and some beetles, because they are a little bit easier to take on, but your quality of life may vary there. Now once you've collected some of these key items and visited some shrines, it's time to head over towards the closest quest area. Ideally a white or green quality quest, as they will be fairly easy to complete. Now complete the quest. There's so many different types of quests, but what you want to prioritize is take down the random floating mobs, the enemies around, and then take on the boss solo. The last thing you want to do is try to start the fight with the boss and aggro 15 other enemies, because that's going to make your life a bad time. So defeat the boss. Again, your results may vary, but you want to try your best. Defeat the boss. Bosses always drop gear. It may not be for your class though, so yay. And you want to continue this process, marking the shrines of life near the points of interest, travel to the area, defeat the enemies on the way, acquire new gear, talk to NPCs, unlock more points of interest, and ultimately that's the grind. That really is what it is. Along the way, you will also find different architectural locations that have lore, typically a graveyard or a structure by itself in the middle of a forest or in the middle of a plains. These pieces of lore can actually provide clues to the location of your artifact. It's not always a clear big red flag on your map that says, hey, this is the artifact. Sometimes it's actually located in a very common area, but you need to do a few more tasks or have a few more items to be able to unlock the artifact area, in quotes. Now eventually you'll gear up from the white quality gear to the green to the blue to the purple, and at this point you are probably a couple hours into the grind and you might even have a legendary 2 under your belt or in your gear slots. At this point you can start making your way towards the legendary tier quests or the artifact location if you kind of know where it is based on the lore. Again, the artifact location may appear as a white or basic tier on your map, but it could have underground passages or doors and gates that require a key item like a harp, flute, or bell to bypass the door and enter the legendary part of the location, and that's where the fun begins. This is likely going to be the hardest challenge, so take your time, be patient, take enemies one at a time when possible if that is best for your character, and don't be discouraged if you fail a couple of times. You have the shrines there, keep them nearby. It's okay to respawn a couple of times if you die. There may actually be literal gatekeepers, like enemies in front of gates. You kill them and the gate opens, so you want to make sure you defeat those to get to the next hallway or the next room. Now, you've traversed the dungeon, you've climbed, you've jumped, you've done your parkour, and now you see the boss, the head honcho, the big kahuna. If the location is where the artifact is held, you know this is your final test. If it's a regular legendary enemy and a legendary location that doesn't have an artifact, this is still going to be a big upgrade for your class, for your gear. Now, through sheer determination, grit, perseverance, and willpower, you will defeat the foe, the enemy, and now you reap the rewards. The artifact. Enjoy your 2% swimming speed buff. No, but really, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you did enjoy. Leave your comments and your suggestions below. Did you find this helpful, or did you find a totally different strategy that works even better than mine? I would love to hear that. If you're new and want to see more content like this, hit the subscribe button and do all the YouTube stuff like liking and sharing and all that. I would appreciate a thumbs up on the video. Thanks so much. Have a great day.